Hello, beautiful people. It is Tasha K with Goddess Stay, and today I want to talk to you about the benefits of growing up in poverty. Now, I know you might be thinking, this chick is crazy. What type of benefits could you possibly get out of growing up in poverty? But I want you to understand my perspective. It is really easy to be a victim of your circumstances and to let life happen to you. And that has never been what I'm about. I am all about being a victor of your circumstances. So for me, it doesn't matter what hand I'm dealt. Because if I was only able to live my life based on the hand that I was dealt, then there would be nothing for me to do. My life would be determined for me. But instead, what I'm looking at is, what can I do with the cards in front of me? Right? What strategies can I use? What mindsets can I adopt that will help me maximize whatever it is that life has thrown my way? And what can I do to make sure that life is throwing more of the things that I want my way? So when you take this approach, the possibilities are endless. You are no longer at the effects of whatever is happening in your life. Life isn't happening to you. Now it's happening through you when you know how to get creative. And so I believe that you have to figure out how to frame whatever is happening to your benefit. Doesn't matter what the clouds are looking like. All you need to do is look for the silver lining, because it is always there for people who are willing to look for it. So yes, I'm talking about the benefits of growing up in poverty, because people want you to feel dejected and downtrodden and rejected and all that stuff. And I say, oh, no, not this one, right? You have to understand that you are highly favored, right? That you could do anything with the circumstances that life has thrown your way. If life gives you lemons, that's fine. It's not a problem. Lemonade tastes real good. And that's the type of mindset that you have to have. You got to be super resilient. You have to be able to bounce back. You have to be able to fall down and stand back up. And you have to know that you don't have to live the same life that your parents lived. You don't have to be at the you don't have to let their mistakes and their decisions impact the type of life that you get to have. You don't have to let society get in the way of you being able to have the life that you want to have. You don't have to let coronavirus coming in and, changing everything mean that you can't be happy and enjoy your life. So in this video, I am going to be talking about the benefits of growing up in poverty. And we all know that growing up in poverty, it leaves you with this post-traumatic poverty syndrome, right? There is this type of distress there, and there's this like fear and this trauma because you have experienced lack and your life has been categorized by that. I'm not talking about the type of, lower middle class poverty. I'm talking about the type of poverty where you don't know where your next meal is going to come from for real. I'm talking about the type of poverty where you have to wash your school clothes in the tub because you don't have money to go to the laundromat. I'm talking about the type of poverty where you're not sure if you and your siblings are going to be able to get to school the next day because you don't even have $1 for bus fare. So I know that, there are levels to this and there are layers to this, but I'm really talking about poverty, and it leaves a mark. It leaves this fear that no matter what you do, it's not going to be enough. You're never going to have enough. And everywhere you look, sometimes you see lack. For me, I don't know why this is. Well, actually, I probably just gave 2 examples of why this is, but I have a huge poverty mindset around laundry. Buying laundry detergent makes me feel like I'm about to go broke. I have this thing where I just can't wash a lot of clothes. Like, I want to condense everything and, use as few loads as possible. And those are the types of marks that it leaves in before you don't even realize it until you do. Until you see yourself going in those same financial cycles time after time after time. And all a poverty mindset is when you look out at the world, instead of asking yourself, how can I have this? Or how do I create enough? Or realizing that you are worthy and you can have what you want, you start thinking things like, oh, I probably can't afford that. That's not worth it. I don't want to spend my money on that. That's not something that I should get. You start to shrink yourself to fit inside of this teeny tiny poverty box. But I want you to know that there are some benefits of growing up in poverty. There are some ways that you now have a competitive advantage over everybody else who didn't grow up in poverty. And the reason that you want to frame it this way, because you want to give yourself power. You want to find any opportunity possible to give yourself some power. I remember when I was working in corporate America, the environment was very different from what I was used to, and sometimes I didn't feel like I belonged there. But when everybody else was stressing out and they didn't know what to do, I was cool, calm, and collected, because the things that they saw as being dire, urgent problems were easy and breezy for me. They didn't involve me being hungry. They didn't involve, me not having shelter. All of these were things, by the time I'm in corporate America, all this is just gravy. All this is just easy. It's nothing to me. It might look hard for you, but it's nothing, absolutely nothing to me. So let me go down the list of some of the things that we don't talk about enough that have contributed to your development. And if you own it instead of running from it, really could benefit you in this journey that we call life. So the first thing that growing up in poverty did for you was teach you how to survive, right? One person might be afraid to take risks because they don't know what would happen. But you're not afraid to take risks because you understand that it doesn't matter what happens, you will be able to take care of yourself. You are a survivor. You know how to make stuff pop off. You know how to feed yourself. You know how to make those $10 meals work. You know how to survive. And when you know how to survive, there's just this certain bite out of life that's gone. There's this certain fear that you don't have to have because you know that you're capable of surviving in any circumstances, right? So your ability to survive even the toughest of circumstances is an asset for you. Now, we definitely want to be able to move out of the space where we're not just surviving, but we're also thriving. But survival is a very important skill. And there was something I wanted to say about survival. Oh, and not only do you know how to survive, you know how to create something from nothing. You basically magic. You know how to create stuff. When other people look at the raw materials, they don't see much. But when you look at the raw materials, you know how to put it together and make something from nothing. And that is a skill that will take you far. The second thing that you could get out of growing up in poverty is just being incredibly resilient. Like I said, things don't touch you the same way that they touch other people. You know how to get through. You know how to make it. You know how to be resilient. Some people would just melt into a puddle of tears at the things that you've been through. But because you have already developed the spirit and the practice of overcoming things, it's par for the course. Starting a business, you have to know how to overcome stuff. You have to know how to go with the flow, keep it moving, take the failure, take the L, and move on to the next. When you grow up in poverty, I guarantee that you automatically know how to do that. The third thing that I want you to understand is that you learn that money doesn't make you happy. Even if you grew up in poverty, I know that you had some good times, whether it was going outside with your friends, whether it was jumping rope, whether it was barbecuing with your family, whether it was having a movie night in. You know that there are so many things that can bring you joy that have nothing to do with money. And so while people are running around like a chicken with their head cut off, trying to find things that fulfill them, whether it is in materialism, whether it is in their finances, you already have this intrinsic joy, this intrinsic happiness that is unshakable. So everybody's story is different. I don't know what those exact 3 things are going to look like for you. I don't know exactly what you developed on your own personal journey. But what I want you to know is whether you grew up in poverty or you grew up in middle class or your parents abused you or, you didn't do well in school, doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't really matter what the circumstances were. What I want you to understand is that you can always flip it to your advantage. Always look for the silver lining. Always figure out how can you frame something that was meant to take you down and use it to build you up. Use it to empower yourself. Use it to help you get to the next level. Because I'm going to tell you, it's not in spite of that thing that you're going to become who you are. It is because of that thing that you are going to become who you are. And so you better use it to your advantage. You already paid for the lesson, so you might as well use it. You already paid for the test. Make it into your testimony. It is your right to use your experiences to build yourself up. And so you can be somebody that is going to make excuses because of what has happened to them. You can say, I've been abused. You can say, whatever. There are tons of things. When you see people, you have no idea the things that they've gone through. When you look at me, honey, I will tell you, I do not look like what I've been through. But everything that has happened to me, I have turned it around and used it for my good. All things are going to work out in my favor. Everything is going to work out for my benefit. And so I want to impart that lesson onto you. It's not just about growing up in poverty, but for those of you who did grow up in poverty, I want you to know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You are not helpless. You are not hopeless. You are not powerless. Use the skills that you have. Use the things that you've developed over your journey, no matter what it is. People might make fun of it. People might look down on it, but you use it to empower yourself and help you get to the next level. All right. Thank you guys so much. All I want is for you to own your own power so that you can create the financial future that you deserve. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and I look forward to talking to you soon. Again, I'm Tasha K with Goddess Day, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.